Hello everyone and welcome back to Tales from the TBR. My name is Dorothy and today we have to do the November wrap-up. Now, I would say November overall, pretty solid reading month. Granted, not as extreme as October's 17 books, but still pretty good considering I did read 8 and they were a majority 4 stars and higher, which is... Oh wait, no, I take it back. 3 stars and higher. Singular 1-star book, and then there is also a 3-star book. So without further ado, let's talk about the books I read in November. To kick off my month, I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This was an anticipated release of mine this year. I gave this book 5 stars. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. There are a lot of opinions about this book. Overall, I ended up giving it 5 stars just because, A, Emily Henry's writing is beautiful to me. I love how she put Nora's anxiety on the page, especially because as a person with anxiety, not often do I get to see how my thought spiral happens on a book page or in media. So seeing Nora's brain spirals was really enjoyable for me. I did like the romance. I like how slowly but surely they start to realize that there is more here, and then additionally the email flirting was great. I spent a lot of time underlining, and there were just so many great moments, and I loved it. Emily Henry, another one for the books for me, because I love them. I love Nora and Charlie, and I think they're great. Granted, I will say Nora's sister was quite annoying, but I looked past that because I cared too much about Nora and Charlie to really care how annoying her sister was. So the next one is also an anticipated release and also a 5-star read, and that is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. Yes, I did it. I read it the month it came out and I love it. Perfect book. I wouldn't say there's a single thing wrong with it. I couldn't tell you a single thing wrong with it. I loved it. The amount of highlighting and underlining in this freaking book is insane. Bree is my favorite female protagonist of the year. I'm just giving her that because that's what she deserves. Because she is the moment. She is the movement. She is the mood. She is everything, hands down. And listen, I love her. I love her so much. I love Tracy Deonn's writing. I love Cell. I love Alice. I love literally every single character in this book except for the villains because I think they're terrible people. And I think that whatever Tracy Deonn does next in this series is just going to absolutely wreck me. I was crying at the end of this book because of the decisions that Tracy Deonn made. And you know what? That's okay. I love Cell and Bree and Nick, and I just want them to have happiness. And the ending of this book wrecked me so much. Just genuinely. I was sitting here, jaw to the freaking floor, and crying and just being like, wow. I don't know when the next one is coming out. Miss Tracy Deonn, please bless me with another book next year because I need this. I need Bree's story. Also, this cover is just stunning, and the audiobook is perfect, and I could go on and on about how much I love this. Everything in this book was great, and if you haven't read the Legendborn series yet, you just gotta. Listen, listen. Legendborn and Bloodmarked are potentially my favorite books of the year. And I've read a lot of books this year. But Legendborn and Bloodmarked are the ones that stand out. I can't get enough, guys. I can't get enough. I just, you know, I gotta stop talking about it before I go overboard. But let me just Selwyn Kane. Just Selwyn Kane and Bree. Just, if you haven't done it yet, just read them. Thank me later. And if you don't like them, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And after Bloodmarked put me in a bit of a slump, not gonna lie, a bit of a slump, because I was like, nothing will ever be as good as this. I then began going back to my romance nonsense. And so I read A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This was a 3-star for me. I might give it a reread next year and bump it up to a 4, just because after thinking about it more, I really think that this was quite beautiful. Now it is spicy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was fairly spicy. So if you're looking for fun Christmas romances that aren't spicy, this isn't it. This is not it. But it was really good. I loved the body positivity in this. I loved the way that Nolan is like, I could not care less about what other people say about you or anything like that. I like you for who you are, and I think everything about you is beautiful. And I was just like, thank you, Nolan. I adore B. Hobbs. I think she was so well written, and I loved her. I loved my time reading this book. It was my very first Christmas romance, and it then started the fact that I love Christmas romance and want to read more of them. So we'll get there, but I just have to recommend this. If you are looking for a body positive book that has a little bit of spice and not only a good plot, but interesting characters, I would highly recommend this. I think this was such a good way to tell this story, and couldn't talk about it enough. I couldn't, and I think you need to read it. The next book I read was I can't call it an anticipated release, because quite literally Tessa Bailey announced this, and then literally a month later it was out, so I didn't really realize it was coming out this year. But that's Happenstance by Tessa Bailey. I gave this 4 stars. Listen, I said it a billion times when I was reading it, that I don't know what crack Tessa Bailey put in here, but I was obsessed with this book. Like, it's short, okay? It's short. And I was like, I don't know about this, because if you don't know, Happenstance is about a girl who ends up meeting 3 guys and then is in a relationship with all 3 of them. Literally all 3 of them. And I was like, this isn't normally my style, you know? I don't think I'm really gonna like this. And then I started reading it, and from the instant, literally from the instant that they met in the tram, I was like, sign me up. There was crack put into this. There literally was. Granted, I will say, main character, a little stupid. But I think I let that slide, because in the sexual tension and spicy moments, it was just so good. It was so good. It was so good. Listen, if you can get past her stupidity, you will like this. Like, this is, I just remembered the word for it. This is a reverse harem romance, and like, this was the first time I've ever read something like that. Obsessed, y'all. Genuinely obsessed. I think I'm gonna end up rereading this next year when I just need a good, a good thing. I didn't underline anything, because as I was reading, I was just like, oh my God. Just oh my God. I will say, my favorite out of all of these ones, all of these men, Banks. Banks was great. There was something about Banks that I was like, ooh, whoo, all these boys. But Banks is the one for me. I loved it. If you want a very fast romance with great spice, I think this is it. I will say though, the conflict in here, not done well, and then it's very quickly resolved. So I will say it does get dramatic, but you know what? I'm okay with it because what came before it was good. So that's the last physical book I have to talk about. The next 3 I read on my Kindle. The first one is Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borison. I gave this 4 stars. It is a friends to lovers romance, and Stella and Luca were exactly what I needed. I adored them, like ridiculously adored them. They were so good. I loved them so much. The Christmas Tree Farm. Listen, when I tell you that every single time that I was like, oh my God, that's right, she owns a Christmas Tree Farm. Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift started playing in my head. Literally, I couldn't stop it every single time. And just the way that their relationship built. Oh, it was so good. The tension between them. The fact that they were just like friends, but like Luca is clearly in love with her and Stella is clearly in love with him, but neither of them wanted to ruin their friendship. I was just, oh my God. I think I said it in the weekly vlog where I read this also, but there's just something about B.K. Borison's writing style that was just so effortless and easy to read. I will be picking up the rest of this series. The rest of it is not Christmas themed, so I'm saving it for later in 2023. But listen, Miss B.K. Borison has me. I want physical copies of this. I highlighted so much in that book. It's ridiculous. I want it. I want a physical copy so bad so I can A, stare at it, and B, annotate it and just be like, Luca and Stella for life. The next book was a buddy read with my friend Tia. Now, listen, this was our first buddy read, and Tia and I saw the cover and we were like, that could be fun. And we agreed to buddy read it, and then we started reading it and quickly realized that this book was trash. But we finished it because it was only 150 pages. And that is The Billionaire Scrooge Next Door by Olivia Hayle. Both of us gave this a 1 star. Listen, the dialogue was bad. The characters were boring. The plot was boring. The characters were just bad. A dog had more personality than our main characters. There wasn't really a conflict at all. Not even part of a conflict. There was no conflict. It was just bad. It was bad. The fact that it was 150 pages was great because it was over quickly and I didn't have to worry about it. But I will say it was bad, and because of it being so bad, I will not be reading another Olivia Hayle book ever. It was real bad. And after we finished it, we both looked, and she has a lot of these weird billionaire KU books, and nope, not happening. Nope. And the last book of November was my second buddy read with Tia, as well as our other friends on our Patreon Discord, Emily and Fatima, and I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace and gave it 4 stars. I am the first one to finish it, so guys, if you're watching this, please forgive me for just reading too fast. I gave Icebreaker 4 stars. It was Beautiful. I loved it. I loved every single second of it. Listen, Nathan Hawkins. Nathan Hawkins is the kind of man that if he was real, I would be swooning over every possible second. This man, I mean, whew, genuinely, Nathan Hawkins, fictional man of the year. Well, no, I read Connor Cobalt, but he's in the fictional man of the year list because he was respectful. Okay, here we go. He was respectful. He was kind. He was gorgeous. He was understanding. He listened. He was protective. He cared. Listen, Nathan Hawkins is it. He's it. And it started the fact that I love sports romances and that I want to read more hockey romances. And thus, Tia and I are going to be reading more hockey romances together. Anyone surprised? No. Also, Stassi was lovely. I loved her journey. Her inner monologue was amazing. I loved how she was understanding of the fact that she had problems and that she was going to therapy for them, and that even though she was in therapy, like, she has this session with her therapist, and she's like in her head, even though she's saying these things and understanding what her therapist is telling her, she was still like, I get it, but also that's not how my brain computes it. And I was like, relatable. Stassi, I'm with you. And she was strong and powerful, and I loved her. I loved her. Nathan and Stassi forever. Listen, when Miss Hannah Grace puts out the next book in this series, I'm gonna eat it up. I'm just gonna be like, num 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 num. Feed me, Hannah, because I loved it. Loved it. It wasn't 5 stars, but it was 4, and I loved it. Okay, so that was my, ranting about Icebreaker. So those are all of the books that I read in November. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below what you read in November. If you wanted to read any of the books I read in November, highly recommend most of them. Literally all of them except The Billionaire Scrooge. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourselves. The people on Goodreads that are giving that book 4 stars are wrong. They are wrong. Don't listen to them. It's bad. It's very bad. Don't do it. Save yourself the time and effort of reading that book and just don't do it. It's not worth it. I'm saving you. I'm saving you. I'm looking out for you. Don't read that book. And if you guys like this content, there's a posting schedule coming soon for 2023, so be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, you can subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell to be notified when I upload me and all of my books. We'll see you next time.